complicated.
Yeah.
And we are live.
I love that. I love that at the beginning. You always do that.
Okay.
And we are live.
Yeah.
Episode number 7. It's been a great semester so far. 7 episodes in. I don't think we've had a bad show, really. I think every week we've gotten better, too. So,
Yeah.
this week is going to be awesome.
Yeah, taking over for the Finch and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, maybe we should introduce ourselves because nobody knows who we are. If you guys are tuned in for Finch and the Pharaoh, we're sorry. You got to put up with the SS podcast or SS Live today.
Or the SS Podcast Live.
Yeah, whatever you want to call us. We're different on all different platforms. We decided to take over their show today, and we're going to take in some calls. We got 4 special guests on the phones calling in today throughout the hour, so it should be pretty entertaining.
Yeah. If you want to catch us on video, we're trying out video for the first time, knowingly.
Are we both on camera?
Yeah, we got that camera in the corner. Hi.
So yeah, if you're tuning in on Spirit Live, you can go to the video stream as well, I guess, if you want to see our beautiful faces.
Yeah, or the side of my head, because you got your beautiful face and then my profile.
Yeah, if you want to see my face, I'm okay with that.
So yeah, we're gonna talk hockey, baseball, basketball,
maybe some football
maybe
at the
a little
end
football.
too. So yeah, it should
be good. So you want to introduce our first guest?
First guest. So this guy, one of my best friends. He's a champion of all sports. This guy, he builds some pretty crazy outdoor hockey rinks as well in the wintertime. It was a lot of fun, going to his backyard and skating on the rink this past winter. Xarius Jasavala. Xarius, how you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. We're so excited to have you on the show today. We know what we're going to talk about with you. You want to talk some Leafs. First of all, I want you to talk a bit about your injury. For those of you who don't know, Xarius has suffered a shoulder injury. Xarius, you want to just tell them about what happened and stuff with that?
Yeah. Oh man, that was a scary one. I've had lots of injuries in the past, where concussions, knee injuries. I've had surgeries, everything. But then the only injury I haven't had, it would be a dislocation. And I was playing soccer one night and I dislocated my shoulder. I got tripped and I fell awkwardly and my shoulder just popped out, and it was a pretty scary thing. But you know what? I'm recovering from it, going to physio, and I'm going to come back even stronger when I head back to sports.
How to be, yeah. That's what you got to do. Comeback time.
Yeah, you and Travis Dermott.
Yeah. Gardiner, hopefully, too. So what do you want to get into first?
Let's talk Leafs first.
All right, you want to talk some Leafs. So what do you want to start with? Gardiner, Babcock, Sparks?
You know what? Well, let's start with Sparks, actually. I know you guys mentioned this before. Sparky's comment he made to the media.
Yeah.
The emotion thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the emotion thing. You know what? I'm completely for it. I completely agree with Sparks. The boys should have more emotion after coming off, I think it was 2 weeks of a slump, and saying that the team has to get angry. They have to show emotion. I completely agree with that. Even though Babs didn't agree with it, the boys have to show some anger, get mad at each other, so show that you actually want it, because they're really fighting for home ice advantage against the Boston Bruins, and some people actually think they've blown it now because of this slump. But you know what? They still have time. They still have time to do it, I feel.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. They got 10 games left here, so they got to make a good push. I know Boston's just been pretty hot as of late. We'll see if the Leafs can catch them for sure. Speaking of the Bruins and Leafs, I know you did a bit of research on the team's schedules as well. Who do you think is ultimately going to end up with that home ice advantage in the end? Because I know the Leafs haven't been doing too well as of late, but do you think that they can still catch Boston for home ice?
You know what? I think it's going to be a really, really tight race. The Leafs, I would say, have a little bit of an easier schedule other than facing Tampa again. But the Boston Bruins have to play Tampa twice still, and they still have to face the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have honestly been giving them a hard time. If you saw the past 2 times they played them, they ended up with Columbus with the win and then ending it in a shootout or an overtime. So I really think it's going to be tight. Hopefully Toronto ends out on top, but Boston just seems so hot right now. I don't even think they're going to lose a game.
Yeah, I saw that game, that Columbus Bruins game. I think it was like 7-4 Columbus. So yeah, they've had the Bruins number in the past couple of games or so. We mentioned yesterday about Babcock, him possibly being fired at the end of the season. Just wanted to get your thoughts.
31 Thoughts stuff.
Yeah, we talked a bit about the 31 Thoughts. The feud between Babcock and Dubas. So should Mike Babcock be fired at the end of the season? Obviously, depending on how they do. But if they lose to the Bruins, do you think that Babcock should be let go of his job?
You know what? I did hear that comment from you yesterday in your podcast, and it got me thinking. If they don't beat the Boston Bruins, probably going to be, I think it's the third time, right? Under Babs. So
Second time.
Yeah, it's second time.
Second time. Sorry. My question to you is, if they were to fire him, who would they bring in to replace him? And do you think that person would change the whole process of what the Leafs are trying to achieve right now?
I think there are really three options, honestly. It's got to be one of Joel Quenneville, Alain Vigneault, or Sheldon Keefe. Like, you just signed Keefe to an extension, so if you're not going to use him, and he's not going to get the head coaching job, why is he going to stick around? Quenneville is one of the best coaches of all time, so you've got to bring him in, and Vigneault has a history of winning in the past, so bring that in. He's probably got a bit more of a less so body checking size mentality from his teams in the past, so I think it's got to be one of those three.
Yeah, I'm thinking more towards Sheldon Keefe, and it might not be what most fans would want. Obviously, you want to get the big fish in Joel Quenneville. Obviously, he had an amazing career in Chicago, and you want that for the Leafs as well. But I think if they fire Babcock, Dubas might want to bring in Sheldon Keefe. Like Connor said, they did sign him to an extension this season. And I think that Dubas and Keefe are pretty close. Obviously, he's a bit of a younger guy, too, and he's done extremely well with the Toronto Marlies. So if you want someone who you're familiar with and you know what you're going to get out of them, definitely, because Dubas was the GM of the Marlies last season, so he knows what he's getting out of him. I wouldn't be opposed to signing Sheldon Keefe. Also, bright young mind in the hockey industry, so I wouldn't be opposed to them bringing in a young guy like Keefe.
Yeah, the only issue I have with Keefe is that they've not Babcock, Dubas and Keefe have had sort of a complicated relationship in the past. Like, they've had their disagreements, but so have every coach and GM, so it may not be that big of an issue. He just might want to be careful with it. But I think he's a good coach. He could be a really good option for the Leafs if they do get rid of Babcock, which I don't think they will, unless it really spirals out of control. But yeah, I saw you also wanted to talk some Rangers, like the Leafs Rangers game tomorrow night.
Yeah, we could tee that up. Xarius, what do you expect from the Leafs tomorrow night? We got Anderson in net probably. Picked him up in fantasy, by the way. Don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you know what? The Rangers on the Saturday, I think the Leafs have to win that one. They got to win that one to take the advantage of this, because their schedule, it may seem easy, but every team is trying to spoil it for other teams now. All the teams who haven't made the playoffs are trying to spoil it for the ones who are fighting for home ice or a spot in the wild card and everything. So I think the Leafs really have to step up in this game and take the win.
Yeah. You wanna touch on some Raptors now too? We got about 4 minutes left before our
3:30, or not even 2:30.
No, we can do.
We can extend it a little bit.
Yeah, we can extend it a little bit here. Yeah. So Kyle Lowry is not playing tonight. He suffered an injury in that game against the Knicks. First thoughts on the injury?
You know what? It's a tough injury to have. I think he hurt his ankle previously, and then he came back, and then I think he injured it again. This really does. I think it does hurt the Raptors huge, because Lowry is such a key part of the team, and he he really is like he looks like the core of the team, and other players such as Van Vliet have to step up in this case. And honestly, my opinion on this Lowry injury, I would just say rest him. Rest him until playoffs hit. Now you've already made the playoff spot. Just have trust in your team to hold their position in the standings, and honestly, just rest him until playoff time.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think.
Only issue I have with that is how recently Fred came back. You kind of want to balance him out, and Jeremy Lin hasn't been that good this season, at least with the Raptors.
That's true.
So you may not want to risk that falling into third, where you'd have to play Milwaukee in the first round, which would not be fun. But, like, resting him is probably the smart move, and it's what they probably will do. It's just how well do you trust Fred's thumb after what he just went through?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And it also depends on Kawhi too. If he's playing most of the games, then I could see them resting Lowry a bit. But you don't want to have a situation where both Leonard and Lowry are sitting out, because then they might. I don't think they're gonna drop in the standings. I just don't see it happening. But you never know. You don't want to risk anything. You don't want to risk a playoff seed or a matchup that you don't want in the playoffs, right? So expectations for the Raptors, just to wrap it up here. Heading into the playoffs, what are your ultimate expectations for this year's Toronto Raptors team?
You know what? I said it from the start. I really do see this team going all the way to the Eastern Finals. Maybe not winning the whole thing, but at least contending for the Eastern Conference Finals, because they look strong. Even with Kawhi out, they're able to win as well.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I think everyone's hoping for.
Yeah.
Deep playoff run. Well, we want to thank you for coming on. We're gonna switch over to Evan, I believe, is the next up.
We're gonna bring in
or Jay. Sorry.
Jay. We're gonna bring in Jay. But yeah, we definitely want to thank Xarius. That was an amazing start to the show.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get you on for a while, so we want to thank you for doing this, taking some time out of your day there. So yeah, thanks for coming on, buddy.
No, boys, thanks a lot for having me. You guys are doing a great job. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Stay tuned.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. Next we got Jae Lee coming on soon. I don't know, like I can call him right now if you want, but do you want to discuss anything before we move on to some baseball?
I don't know, not really. I guess Raptors play tonight. Should be a really good game against OKC. Wednesday night, I think it was a great matchup. Kind of struggled in the fourth a little bit, let their guard down a bit, but then when Paul George fouled out, really took over. Hoping for the same thing tonight, just less so of the collapse. Hopefully big games for Kawhi and big games for Siakam. They had really big games yesterday. So yeah, I guess we're moving away from basketball. That might be the last we talk about it.
Yeah, that might be the last.
We're going to introduce our next guest. Aiden, take it away.
Yeah, so first of all, I just want to say that this guy completely screwed me over right now, because I just realized I have his American phone number. So I am calling to the States, I think.
You want to change that up?
No, because I remember last year we had a situation where I could never call his Oakville number or whatever, so...
I could try. You want to try that? As opposed to using long distance?
I don't know. Like, it's 10 minutes. I don't think it'll be too bad. Sorry, Dad, if you're listening right now. Shouldn't don't worry. So yeah, Jae Lee, he's one of my best high school friends. He's also kind of into that like film industry. He's studying film at Queen's University.
Oh, he's a Queens kid.
Yeah, Queens kid. But also he loves sports. Big Red Sox fan, big baseball fan.
Could this kid get any worse? Red Sox and Queens? Like, come on.
And hates the Blue Jays too. Anyways, Mr. Jae Lee, how you doing today?
Well, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on, buddy. Yeah, so what do you want to get into first?
Well, I think we should talk about the elephant in the room, so Trout contract.
Yeah.
Don't you mean the fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, the big fish.
The big fish.
Yeah. All right, so what are your
yeah.
first thoughts on this monster contract?
Well, yeah, obviously the Angels purchased the most expensive fish, and he just literally became a rainbow trout. Well, Trout signs at $430 million for 12 years. I mean, that's insane. If Bryce Harper's not punching the air, crying his eyes out, I don't know what he's doing. Actually, no, because he did also make a chunk of money, so he probably won't do anything about it. But like I said, about not even a month ago, everyone was just talking about Machado's 10 years, $300 million contract, and Harper's $330 million contract, and Trout just comes out of nowhere and just kind of buries them both in the dirt or something like that. But I remember about 7 years ago, I looked up the biggest MLB contract in MLB history, and it showed me an A-Rod's contract for 10 years, $252 million, I believe, something like that.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely mind blowing. So to see how far we've come, $430 million for 12 years. I mean, it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, $10 million a year more than Harper. I couldn't believe that. Yeah, what you said at the beginning is completely true.
Trout's earning of roughly $36 million per year.
Yeah.
And it's also it's not only just the MLB's the biggest contract, biggest MLB contract, but it's also the biggest contract in sports history. So wow.
Yeah, I know, the
Crazy.
largest in professional sports history.
Yeah, yeah.
I said yesterday it's more expensive than a couple of NHL teams.
Yeah, eight
NHL teams, including Winnipeg, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's insane.
Speaking about the Angels, we said yesterday, and I know you saw this. Also in the deal, Trout gets October's off as well. So we just wanted to get your thoughts. Do you think that's true? Do you think he's not going to make the playoffs?
These jokes, man. Oh, they're killing
me.
Sorry,
you were breaking up. I couldn't hear you clearly. What?
Do you think the Angels are going to make the playoffs anytime soon?
Oh, honestly, I honestly don't. I just can't see them making playoff anytime soon. Let's be honest here. Angels, they don't have the best players in the world. Probably the only good player in the Angels is Trout, and Pujols, he's old, and maybe Shohei Ohtani, but he's getting injured and whatever. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't think people are saying Shohei Ohtani is one of the next Babe Ruth or something like that, but I completely disagree. I don't think he's that good. I think he's just overhyped, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just being too harsh, but overall, I don't think he's not ready.
Sounds a bit like a salty Red Sox fan right there.
I agree with a little bit of what you're saying about Ohtani there. But he did have a phenomenal rookie season. But yeah, he's definitely not the next Babe Ruth. That's just, you can't live up to that hype.
That's crazy.
We can move on to your Red Sox. They made an extension signing today. They signed Chris Sale to a 5-year contract extension. I know you're pretty excited when they got him, first of all, and also. When I think in grade 11 they signed Price as well, so you're pretty hyped about that as well. What are your thoughts on the contract?
Sorry, you were really breaking up. All I heard was extension, so I'm assuming it's Chris Sale.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sorry about that. But
okay, all right, okay. Yeah, so all I heard was extension and then your opinion. So, Chris Sale. After seeing all those insane numbers of extensions with Trout, Machado, and Harper, Chris Sale's $150 million for 5 years does not seem that big at all. But I'm actually really happy about it. He's one of our best pitchers we have. So yeah, and I believe it's slightly under slightly under 150 million. So yeah, I think it's honestly we got the best. We have one of the best starting rotations in the team. Better than the Yankees, probably. Okay. So, yeah, I'm happy with that extension.
Then what is your outlook on this season for the Red Sox? What do they have to do for you to be, at least, not be mad about it, I guess, is the best way. Because I know the ultimate goal is to win the World Series.
Back-to-back.
Back-to-back. But if that doesn't happen, what's the bare minimum where you're okay, that's fine?
Yeah, sorry guys. Again, you guys really broke up. All I heard was mad and back-to-back wins.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to puzzle it all together. So like, I'm guessing what do they have to do like to make me mad, right?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay,
What are your
okay.
expectations? Expectations
Expectations for this year?
Yes.
For Red Sox? Okay, well, obviously, I guess I just want them to win back. Honestly, I do think they have like really high chance of winning back-to-back. First of all, because
Okay.
I guess the only biggest threat for them is Astros and Yankees, and maybe Phillies. Now they have Bryce Harper, but I don't think they can really. I don't think they're gonna like even. If they're going to make the playoff, I think they're gonna struggle. That's my opinion. But anyway, back to Red Sox. We have honestly, in my opinion, one of the best. We're like one of the best hitting teams in MLB right now, and also we have one of the best rotations and bullpens as well. Although we just traded Joe Kelly, or I don't know if it was traded or LA Dodgers just signed him. But anyway, I think there's overall one of the best, if not the best, team in MLB, and we have pretty high chance of winning back-to-back World Series.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't, because I don't like the Red Sox.
Okay, yeah, funny.
Yeah, very funny. Look forward to going to some games with you this summer as well. I know Jay's tickets are going to be pretty cheap. Do you want to?
Yes.
They're gonna be giving them away free at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how much opening day tickets are going for, but they can't be too pricey.
I feel like they might be a little bit more expensive.
Oh, well,
with the 50-50, $500,000 they put in.
You're right about that. Yeah.
So.
Wow. Okay.
knows?
Do you want to touch on a bit of hockey? Get your thoughts on some Chicago Blackhawks before you leave here.
Oh, Blackhawks. Oh boy. Well, obviously I'm a Blackhawks fan, but we had a rough season. I can't really say anything about that. There's just I guess no excuse for it. I mean, Corey Crawford was injured for a while, but Cam Ward, he's a great goaltender. I think that was a really good pickup for us. And yeah, I guess it may be time for us to reset. I don't know. I can't really make a clear shot because next year it could be completely different. With Blackhawks, they can be just 1 year, it can be like amazing and win Stanley Cup, but another year, like we can just have like absolute like terrible year like this year. So yeah, I can't really say anything about it, but I'm just gonna say this right here. This year, Toronto Maple Leafs are gonna win the Stanley Cup championship. It's a false statement. But last year, let me tell you this. Last year, I predicted Capitals are going to win, and everyone laughed at me.
Yes.
And guess what happened? Capitals won. So I'm just saying right here, boys.
You heard it here first. SS Podcast.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Broadcast right here.
March 22nd. March 22nd, 2019, 5:30 o'clock on the dot. Jae Lee says Leafs will win the cup. I hope it happens.
That's right.
I think all of Toronto, it's a Toronto fan hopes.
Yeah, and I think Jay's turning into a Leafs bandwagon fan, and I'm okay with that. That's great.
Yeah, funny.
I mean, I know you want a Leafs jersey too. All right. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. We want to thank you for coming on. Trying to get you on for a while as well. Any last comments? You want to give yourself a bit of a shout out here?
Oh well, say first of all, thank you guys for having me again, and your show is great. I've been listening to it since episode 1, and shout out to Omar, Mustafa, Tal, Hassan, and that's it.
Well, thanks a lot, dude.
Oh boy, it's gonna be fun to edit.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. So yeah, thanks for coming on. We'll probably, I know Aiden will talk to you later for sure. Maybe later in the year we'll do this again.
Yeah,
and you might come on again. At maybe that point, the Blackhawks will be eliminated from the playoffs.
We'll see.
But we'll see. So thanks, man.
See you later, Jay.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That was, other than a little issues with service and
I don't know why.
Long distance.
Yeah, it might have been the long distance thing. I'm not sure. So next we're gonna call someone from Hamilton. So we shouldn't really have any long distance. Well, he's from Oakville, but he goes to school in Hamilton. We'll get him on the line now. Anything we want to talk about in between here? We're gonna tee up some Toronto Blue Jays. They got their opener on Thursday. It's gonna be an interesting game. We got Marcus Stroman on the mound to start off the season, so that should be pretty exciting. It's a big moment for him. He loves those big games. So yeah, now I want to introduce another one of my great longtime friends. I went to elementary school with him. Went to high school for a bit with him. He plays hockey. He plays baseball. I played some high school baseball too. Currently at McMaster University in Hamilton. So now on the phone line, I want to introduce Evan Spence. Evan, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys today?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
We had an early morning, 8 a.m. class.
Very early morning.
How's school going for you?
Not too bad, actually. I guess home stretch here, about a month to go, and then we'll be wrapping things up. How's things with you guys?
It's great. We love the program that we're in. It's all sports, media. We got classes at Maple Leaf Garden, so it doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah. We got our own radio
Sounds
show
like a
too,
good
which is
time.
pretty sick.
Yeah, exactly. We got our own radio show.
So you want to
I
just
like it. I'm listening a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
You want to just start off? What do you want to start off with?
I'm gonna go for Blue Jays, actually.
Blue Jays. Okay.
All right. So yeah, like we were just teeing up. They got their opener on Thursday afternoon against the Tigers. They've had a decent spring so far. They got a couple injuries as well. John Axford, Tapera. Heard that Travis is gonna be out a bit, and then Pompey as well. What are your thoughts on the Jays in general right now?
Yeah, I'm actually heading down next Thursday for the 3:30 start opening day.
Wow.
So, it should be exciting. But yeah, anyways, it's I think the Jays, I give them a pretty good grade in terms of off-season preparations. They did, I would say, what they could have done given what I think their goals are this season, which is still basically a rebuild season. They've got Sogard and Urania fighting for that utility man spot in the infield, I guess, and then with getting rid of Russell Martin, those were two. That was another big thing they did. I would say at this point, get rid of Brandon Drury, trade him for what you can get. There isn't really a lot of room for him, especially once Vlad Jr. gets back. So I would say the outlook on the season as it stands is good for how things have been going. I think just see what happens at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're definitely still in the rebuilding season. You touched a bit about Vlad Guerrero there, and we've had numerous discussions in previous shows about whether he should be on the team or not to start the season. He's not on the team. He also had an injury that kind of set him back, but we still didn't think that he was going to be on the team to start the year. What is your ideal timeline for Vlad Guerrero to be called up to the show?
I think if they can get rid of Drury, he can come up when they see fit. He was decent down in Arizona. Didn't play a lot, and then as well as the Gulf Coast League, he was a little bit down there too. I would say see how the first couple weeks turn out. He can definitely be an asset as the Jays move forward in building up their team, though, for sure.
Yeah. So you clearly want to get rid of Chris Drury very badly. Brandon Drury. Chris Drury's a hockey player.
Yeah.
So what do you think their outlook on the season is then? Do you think they got any chance at beating Tampa Bay, or are they bottom feeding with Baltimore?
I would say more looking like they can contend with Tampa Bay. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we have a decent base in terms of what we've done in the off season with as I said with Martin. declining the Solarte option, but exercising the option for Smoke. In terms of offense, that I think is a smart move. They didn't trade Kendrys Morales, which a lot of people said would have been a good idea in terms of picking up a quick prospect or two. But no, I would say the Jays should have a positive attitude going in, and they usually the home opener they lose, and that sort of magnifies everything, and everyone sort of says, oh, like it's over, and then usually the first couple weeks in the past at least haven't been too hot, but I think give it some time and see what happens.
Yeah, you're completely right about that home opener thing. I think I remember last year they got like 2 hits in their first game last season, and everyone was like freaking out saying that, yeah, this team's going to strike out so many times this season in every game and they ain't going nowhere. But yeah, give it a bit of time. You never know. They've had a decent spring, a better spring than I expected, and they got some young pieces as well. One of the guys that I wanted to mention to you was Gurriel Jr. He came up to the team last season. There's been some talks recently on what position he's going to start out in the infield. Another acquisition in the offseason, they got Freddie Galvis. Pretty good Gold Glove. Well, he's a Gold Glove fielder. So he's going to start at shortstop. What are your thoughts on Gurriel starting at second base?
I think that's probably the preferred way to go. As I said, there's Sogard, there's Urania. Third base can be filled by one of those two guys. Gurriel Jr. over at second, and then Freddie Galvis seems like the optimal setup to me in terms of their past experience.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's a good move for right now, but I think in the future you got to look towards keeping Gurriel at short. I think Freddie Galvis was kind of brought in here to be more of a mentor defensively to these young guys. I know right away they had an instant connection with him and Guerrero because Galvis said that he wanted to, like, his goal was to be a mentor to Vladdy Guerrero, even though he's not on the team to start. I like their defense right now. I like Drury at third base. I think he's a solid guy, but I wouldn't be opposed to trading him at the deadline. I think you could get something back for him, and he's definitely not a part of their long-term plans, in my opinion, with Guerrero. Also, I wanted to mention the Jays got a new manager this year, Charlie Montoyo. And, he was with the Rays, and they had a bunch of different strategies that they would use, starting some bullpen guys at the start of the game. One of his most recent strategy changes was possibly putting Tim Meza at first base. Did you hear about that at all?
I didn't, actually.
Yeah, so they're thinking of putting Tim Meza at first base. He is a lefty, but he hasn't played first base at all throughout his professional career. But they want to have a situation where they can put Meza into pitch, then they can move him to first base for an inning or however long. I think the maximum is 3 batters now, according to the new MLB rules.
If it gets passed. It hasn't been passed yet.
If it gets accepted. So when Meza goes to first, they bring in another reliever, probably a righty, and then what they would do is swap out that pitcher, put Meza back in. So it's a different strategy. We haven't really seen it before, but what are your thoughts on a pitcher playing first base?
I think it's worth a try. Meza, I guess we don't really have a whole lot of leads on him. He had, I think, just maybe he's maybe had 3 wins, but I think give it a try, and if he's able to, if you're able to do that whole switcheroo, and not have obviously it's a different experience to have him over as a position player, but I would think give it a shot. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely a newer way of approaching the game, and you saw with the Rays last year, everything that they did. I think I don't know. I don't know, because I've never seen it before. I think the Rays might have actually tried it last season. I think they put Sergio Romo at third base for like an inning, and then they brought him back in. I think it worked out well, but there's not too much information about how well that this has worked out. But I'm open to anything, especially this year with the Jays. You really don't know what to expect, and it's just going to be something that you get more excited about, something that keeps you watching the game. When you see a pitcher at first base, that you don't want to take your eyes off the screen. You want to see if he can actually catch the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree.
Yeah. Do you want to talk any more about the Jays? Anything else you want to discuss?
I think that's probably a good summary of where they stand.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see. They've lost. I've been to I think 3 or 4 home openers the last 5 years, and they've lost every single one of them. So it's always exciting to see things start up again. But we'll see how the first little while progresses.
Yeah, hopefully Strosho can get the job done against the Tigers. I don't know if the Tigers are going to be any good this year either, so it should be a pretty good game to go to, and it's an afternoon game, packed house. You got good seats?
Yeah, we're at 100 level. My dad picked up a couple from work, so we didn't have to. I guess the prices aren't too bad, but it was good to be able to pick some up for free.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great time at that game. It should be an amazing game.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. If you see Alex Sterling, Harrison Antical, or Margot Ferguson, say hi for me. We're going to do the classic what Americans do to Canadians and say, here, there's 35 million people. You'd probably know one of my friends at a 34,000. How many thousand at university?
I think you said he might know some people at Mac, right?
Yeah, those 3, maybe.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, Evan, thanks for coming on the show. It was a pleasure having you. You want to shout yourself out a bit?
It's all good. Thanks so much for having me, and yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for the invite, and I wish you guys all the best with as the show moves forward.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys.
You too.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it's been good. 3/4 of the way through here.
Yeah, we got last one. Old Faithful, I guess we could now call him, considering he's the only person who's ever been on twice.
Yeah.
Tyler Moore is joining us again.
Yeah, well, I'll give him a bit of a buzz here. I'll call in pretty soon.
Yeah. So you got anything you want to talk about?
Well, with Tyler, we're gonna talk. Like if you guys watched last episode, Tyler knows everything there is to know about sports. He's from Ottawa. We're gonna get his thoughts on the Eugene Melnyk situation that went down today. A couple of comments he made in his interviews. You want to break that down a bit, and we can call Tyler here.
Yeah, sure. So basically, Melnyk insulted the most respected reporter in Ottawa, who reported on the Sens. He went after the mayor in a veiled threat, which was not the best thing to do when you're trying to get a new arena and have the city pay for it. But that's Ottawa. And he laughed at 6th place the Toronto Maple Leafs for their lack of defense when their best defenseman is Thomas Chabot, and then
he's
nobody.
Injured too.
So
I know Tyler's got a pretty big opinion on this. He seemed pretty heated about the comments. So yeah, you guys know him if you've been listening. He was on episode number 3, I believe. Calling in now from Ottawa. We got Tyler Moore on the line. Tyler, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Doing great.
Yeah, we're good. Good. Glad to have this extra show this week. Thanks to the Finch and the Pharaoh.
Nice.
Yeah, again, thanks to the Finch and the Pharaoh.
Yeah, shout out to them.
So you want to start with Melnyk, considering you're the on-the-ground source we have in Ottawa?
Yeah, I just heard about it today. I got a notification on my phone seeing Melnyk talking up a bit, so I I looked at the article and found what he was saying about how we went through a rebuild, but the team seemed to have forgotten about their defense, and now that we're close to the cap, we're not going to be able to bring anyone else in. I don't think he really knows what he's talking about, considering Sandin and Liljegren are both legit prospects. I think both of them have capability to be top second pairing, if not one of them maybe even being first pairing defenseman in the future. Along with Riley and Muzzin and Dermott, Rosen and Borgman are looking like they could be solid bottom pairing guys. So, I mean, maybe compared to our offense, which is one of the best in the league, our defense doesn't look that good. But looking around the league, I don't really see that much of an issue with it.
Yeah, that's basically represents what I think. Got the best left side in the league, as I say, and then right side.
Not so much the right side,
Would
but
prefer
still,
to forget, but
he can't be talking about the Leafs like that.
No.
Like why? Like, is he's just really that pissed off
He
about
just
how
had-
the season has gone for the Sens?
he just had to cover for Edmonton for what
For
who
what
was it?
Reeder did?
Yeah, what Bob Nicholson said yesterday. He's
Yeah.
just got to cover for his friend.
Yeah,
those 12 goals from Reeder would have really put them
Yeah.
into the playoffs. They'd be in first place with those 12 goals.
And then
what
David
in the world was that?
David Staples defending him too, which was just
Yeah.
mind blowing.
And then Tobias Reeder's just there like, hey guys.
Hi, I'm gonna.
Yeah, needless to say, I don't think he'll be re-signing with Edmonton in the
Yeah.
I think he's already said he isn't going to.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be next year's Tyler Ennis on the Leafs. If that were my bet.
Hey, I would make no objections to signing him to a minimum contract and seeing what he can do.
Yeah, so we also got some news today about Dermott, Gardiner. They've begun skating once again. I saw a video. Connor and I both looked at it. Gardiner was pretty stiff when he was skating. Dermott looked okay. Dermott's pretty close to returning, it seems, and Gardiner not so much. But we're hopeful that he's back at some point throughout their playoff run. What are your thoughts on this Jake Gardiner injury and how the Leafs decor has done since that injury happened? And do you think that they're good enough on defense to beat Boston?
I really don't know. It's difficult, obviously, to have two top four guys go down. Well, I mean, Dermott is capable of being top four. He was number 5, but having two top four guys go down at the same time is always tough, especially when your top options in the minors go down as well. So giving extra work when half your decor is composed of Ozhiganov, Hall, and Marincin, your team is definitely going to struggle a bit. As much as I have to say about Gardiner and as much as his game irks me, he's definitely better than those three guys by miles. So it obviously hurts a lot. And we might not even see Gardiner back. A couple days ago, they said he wasn't progressing, and just because he's skating doesn't mean he's close. So you never know with back injuries. Like that's one of the most important parts of your body when it comes to skating. And then Dermott coming back, yeah, it'll be a boost, but he's still such a young guy. Like I don't know how his game translates to the playoffs. I mean, we've seen Gardiner's game not translate to the playoffs. I don't think we need to remind anyone about Game 7 last year, but at the same time, I think Dermott's kind of in the same boat where he's still learning how to play at the NHL level in the playoffs, so we'll just have to see.
Yeah, pretty well said, I guess. So what else do we want to talk about? You want to talk a bit? Well, I guess I can say Blake Murphy just tweeted saying Raptors have the same starting lineup tonight as they did against OKC last Wednesday. So if you take from that what you will, yeah, that's not really news, but maybe a good way to transition towards Raptors if you want to talk Raptors, or if you want to get into Jays, we can get into Jays.
I was thinking maybe Jays.
All right, let's go for Jays. What do you want to talk about with the Jays? Injuries, Vlad, who?
I was thinking kind of injuries and just kind of the transitional phase that we're in right now at the end of spring training, just kind of finalizing the roster.
Yeah, so we talked about, I don't know if you heard, but we had Evan on a couple moments ago. We kind of teed up the opener a bit and how he expects the Jays to do this year. I assume you want to mention Axford, Tepera, the Travis injuries.
Yeah.
Also breaking today, Dalton Pompey has been hurt.
Terrible luck for him, another concussion. He's having a pretty good spring.
Yeah.
Especially with Axford and Tepera going down. I think he had a spot on the roster. But now, who knows what's going to happen when he comes back.
Well, we have a little bit of breaking news coming out of Florida with the Jays. Max Pentecost, who's a former first-round pick for the Jays, 2014, 11th overall, has reportedly left camp and is debating retiring.
How old is he?
26.
Okay.
Which is odd.
Well, yeah, he clearly was not going to make the team. Retiring, I don't know. We'll have to look at that a bit closer here.
He played Double-A last season, so he clearly isn't terrible.
I guess he got drafted. When did you say he got drafted?
2014.
2014. So he's 5 years into the league now. He hasn't gotten higher than Double-A. I could see why he'd want to retire. It obviously sucks when a guy's career doesn't work out for him. I don't know if that's definite or still like just a rumor, or if that is actually breaking right now that he is retiring. I didn't know too much about him. Tyler, did you know anything about him?
I had heard a little bit about him. Some of the Jays writers on the Score, I think they ranked him as number 1 or number 2 in their top 5 older prospects list this year. He was on the top 5 list at least, so I'd heard a little bit about him, but I mean, he would be like our 4th or 5th catching prospect at this point, with Jansen and McGuire in front of him for sure, and I think we have a couple other younger guys that are in front of him, so his path to the big leagues with the Jays at least would be quite blocked. I mean, he could probably go elsewhere and try to find a path, but who knows?
Yeah. So yeah, I assume you got a bit of more notes about the Jays other than just this breaking news here. What do you want to touch on in specific? We got about 5 minutes left here, so we're just gonna let you say your thoughts on the Jays and what you expect from them this season.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as Evan was. I think they'll be able to compete. They have a lot of excitement on the roster. The one part of the roster that's set right now, at least for the next couple weeks, is the rotation with Stroman, Sanchez, Shoemaker, Barishki, and Richard. And we've seen Stroman and Sanchez be very, very top quality pitchers in the past. So I think if those two have good seasons, we could be right there with Tampa Bay competing. And then you need 3 pitchers to have good years to be able to compete. So you need one of Shoemaker, Barucki, and Richard to have a good season. And Buchholz, when he comes back, when he's stretched out, he's probably going to slot in place of Richard, or maybe even Barucki if he's not performing. And he pitched very well last year. So if you have 3 of those guys perform well, then who knows what they can do.
Yeah, that rotation is definitely going to be key for them if they want any success. You never know how their offense is going to be, because in years past it hasn't been too good, and you can't really count on them to generate any wins. It's really going to be dependent on Stroman, Sanchez, how well they can do, how well that they can carry that rotation, and some of their depth guys, some young guys like Barucki you mentioned, and even a guy like Sean Reed-Foley. I think he could be a big piece later on in the season for their rotation. And you never know what they're going to do with how many guys they're going to trade as well, because they're still in that rebuilding phase.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes left here.
How about we didn't have time to do this with the other 3 guys, but I came up with this question a couple of days ago, which I think would be interesting to see people's opinions. If you could take over your favorite sports teams, what would be your first move that you realistically could make today? So it doesn't involve trading Zaitsev or Brown, because you can't make trades right now. It would have to be something else.
Well, can I go with the Jays move?
Yeah, go with I don't know how many favorite sports teams you have, but go with each one. We got 2.5 minutes left.
Okay, so I crafted this trade this morning.
We got some GM mode stuff
here. the Jays would pick up Bumgarner from the Giants and re-sign him to an 8-year extension.
Wow.
And we would send back Kevin Pillar,
Okay.
Kevin Smith, who's the shortstop, our number 7 prospect, number 3 shortstop prospect. Looks like a pretty good young player. He put up 25 home runs, 93 RBIs last year in the minors. Sean Reed Foley, who I'm sure everyone's heard of, number 9 prospect. I've heard he has really good stuff, but it's just a problem with control. He had, I think, 21 walks in 33 innings in the majors last year, which is kind of a problem. And Griffin Conine, who is our top outfield prospect behind McKinney, but McKinney's making the team. And we'd offload Kendrys Morales to the Giants in exchange for Madison Bumgarner.
That is a big trade.
Blockbuster right there. Wow. Any reasoning behind that trade? Why Bumgarner? Why did you decide that he's the guy that the Jays should try and go after?
Well, he has age a bit on his side. He's turning 30 this season, about a third of the way through the year. So you'll get 5 solid seasons out of him. He has had injuries the last 2 seasons, but they've been kind of freak injuries. There was a dirt bike accident and he got hit with a line drive. So they're not really injuries to be too concerned about. It's not like elbow problems, forearm problems, anything like that. And he's been durable besides these last 2 years. I think he'll be a face of the franchise for them, kind of the star pitcher they haven't had, I guess, since Price was here for that half season. Besides that, I just think the Giants are needing to rebuild. Their team's getting older. I think the pieces they get in return kind of help them out. Like at shortstop, they can get rid of Brandon Crawford, who's 32 now. Bumgarner would definitely take pressure off Stroman and Sanchez. We could even look at trading one of them possibly for other assets if we needed to. And then getting rid of Pillar, who's getting older now. We could have a chance to try Pompey or Alford or another young guy in center and just see what he can do. So I think it just opens up a lot of options for the Jays.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty crazy if it happens.
Don't know about giving up so many prospects for a 30-year-old player, but
I'm all for giving up Kevin Pillar, and you know that.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for, I don't know.
You've been on the bandwagon for months, for years.
For years, yeah, for years.
How about we swap out some prospects for maybe Marcus Stroman? I'd much rather get rid of him.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. With prospects, there's that. I mean, Stroman's kind of a wild card too, but Stroman's been very, very successful in the past, and I don't know if you want to give up that much risk. If essentially you'd be trading for the same player, it just Bumgarner's older. If Stroman can return to what he used to be able to do.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a while that Connor just hates Marcus Stroman, so he doesn't mean that. We know Stroman's a good pitcher. He's a good pitcher. He's had a great spring. He's going to be their opening day starter. You don't trade him if you don't get anything back for him. Like, they'll trade him at the right time if they trade him at all. We'll see how he is at the deadline. We'll see where the Jays are in the standings, and we'll see if they got some value back. We got to go. Tyler, it was great having you on the show a second time. We always love having you on, so if you want to come on again, just let us know. We got, I think, 3 more shows left. So
we only have 3 left.
Yeah, it's school year's almost over, right? So we're gonna say bye for now. Thanks for coming on again, and
Thanks so much, guys. It's always a pleasure being on, and good luck with your last couple shows.
Yeah,
awesome. Thank you.
So that was a pretty good set of show. I guess we got to really wrap up because there are people outside right now.
Yeah, that was one of our best shows, I think, so far, too. So
we say that every week.
True.
So, we'll take you out to what song?
Victory Song, because I have it out, and we got to go.
All right.
All right.
Thanks.